Hello y'all, this is the Hearts of Iron 4 mod World War Zero. It is set at the start of the 22nd century in a world which has been flooded. We're on the select country screen now, and there are a ton of nations here, and let's go over all of them. And so first we have the United States of North America, then we have the Indonesian League, the Federal State of Belgium, the Tsarinadom of Russia, the All-African Alliance, the Union of Guinea, the Global Jihadi Army, the Islamic Republic of Aceh, the Sultanate of Brunei, the Philippine Union, the Great Guinea State, the Santa Muerte Cartel, the Los Mayas Cartel, the Hijos de Hidalgo Cartel, the National Liberation Front, the Front of National Liberation, the Federal State of France, the Federal State of Germany, the Federal State of Italy, the Federal State of Iberia, the Federal State of Greece, the Federal State of the Balkans, the Federal State of Poland, the Federal State of the Baltics, the United Kingdoms of Africa, Vanguard Sudan, the East African State, the Victorian Confederation, the Nisan Syndicates, then we have Dictatorial Angola, the African Empire, the Cape Tonian government, the Principality of Ukraine, the Navayana Republic, the Principality of the Caucasus, the Kursk Cabinet, the Imperium of Rus, the League of the Final International, the Duchy of the Urals, the Ural Bandits, the Siberian Royal Resistance, the Siberian Military Junta, the Free Anarchist Communes of Kara, the Radnova Reclaimers, the Patriarchate of Russia, the Central Asian Commandery, the Sufi Hierarchy, the Sufi hierarchy, however you say that, the Khazakh Nation, the Turkmenian Authority, and then we have the Caspian Khanate. The start date of this modification is 2101, and before I really get into any of the story or the narrative here for World War Zero, we have some tutorial events that just will explain some of the systems and mechanics in the mod. So first off, there is the randomizer, and what this does is at the game start, some scripts are executed that will give a country a randomized amount of resources and industry and even military units for nations if they don't have a custom order of battle. And this will make every playthrough unique, apparently. So next we have the ideologies, and there are 4. And just to summarize them, we have the globalist, the hegemonist, the nationalist, and the isolationist. And the globalist want world conquest. Hegemonists usually want to unite a region or something like that. Then the nationalists are concerned with their own nation, but they generally want to keep to their own, but they want to try and grab some territorial claims, historical or otherwise. And then there is the isolationist, who are kind of like nationalist, but without the external claims. They're only concerned with preserving their nation as is, and that's the 4 ideologies. And honestly, out of those ideologies, globalists, they seem to be ranked in how aggressive they are potentially. Globalists want to take over the world. Hegemonists want to take over their region. Nationalists only want their historical claims, and isolationists just want to be left alone, effectively. I think that's how it works. Then we have technology, and essentially in this mod, World War Zero, there is only one tech tree slot, and the tech tree has been reworked to reflect that. So going over that now, the tech tree, it's broken up in 4 different ways. Up top, you have your army stuff. To the right, there's the Navy research. Left is air research. Then, for the Air Force and planes and jets and all that. Then below that, we have the industry and economics. And that's the bottom part of the tech tree. And each focus outside of the starting ones, it looks like, takes 149 days to do. And let's go to the decisions tab now. We have anti-Indonesian resistance, state coring, economic zone actions, political actions, war measures, and resources are different here, and there are a few. So let me go there to trade just to see if I can get there. Trade, yes. So there is different resources now. You have energy, I guess our place is oil, or maybe we have advanced materials, plastics, basic components, basic materials, and advanced components, and that's the different resources in World War Zero. And this mod does rework the UI. It's more gray looking, and it's pretty nice for what it's trying to accomplish. So going over the lore now, basically in 2063, October 2063, an unidentified object hit the North Pole of Earth, and this impact results in the greatest natural disaster, the worst natural disaster humanity had yet known. The following period of years, a following period of planetary chaos would come to be known as the deluge. Coastlines would be flooded everywhere, and they would retreat inland as a result. Many old nations crumbled in the face of the disaster, while many others survived. It has been 2 decades since the so-called deluge era ended. So it ended sometime, I guess, in the 2080s, the 80s of the 21st century. And so just an example of the impact the deluge has had. Brittany is kind of gone. It's an island now. Denmark is definitely almost gone. Malta has disappeared. Then over in Asia, India has had major flooding, and there's also some major flooding in China. So big deals there all around, and that's just the effects of the deluge. And going over the factions of the world now, there's only really one in 2101 when you start out, and that is the European Federation, because the EU managed to survive the apocalypse, I suppose, and they become more centralized as a result. And it's led by the European Federation, is led by the federal state of Belgium, and it consists of many other federal states, and the federal states are, just for the sake of keeping this short and simple and not just saying federal state like 10 times. Besides Belgium, there is Romania, Bulgaria, the Pannonia, that's Hungary, I think, the Balkans, Poland, the Baltic, Czechoslovakia, the Alps, Germany, Italy, Greece, Iberia, and France, and that is the European Federation. And let's go over all the countries of the world now. We'll begin in, say, Africa. So here we have the Barbary state of Morocco, the Barbary state of Tunis. I guess the Barbary states made a comeback in this timeline. We have the Saharan Free Zone. There's the Barbary state of Tripoli. We got the Islamic Republic of Egypt. And in West Africa, there is the Union of Guinea. They're fighting the All-African Alliance, who's kind of very spread out all over the continent of Africa, and they're fighting many different countries. And we have, after that, the Vanguard Sudan, the Republic of Ethiopia. There is the All-African Alliance in northern Somalia, upper Somalia, yeah. There's the East African State. We had the Victorian Confederation, the African Empire. Then there is dictatorial Angola. They're fighting the All-African Alliance, it looks like, and I may have mentioned them already, but here's the United Kingdom, the United Kingdoms of Africa. Yes, there's the All-African Alliance in Zaire and parts of the Congo. We have the Nisan Syndicates. There's the All-African Alliance in Zimbabwe. We have the Unitary Government of Africa, and they're up against the Cape Townian government, and that's sort of like in South Africa. Well, it could be considered South Africa, and the All-African Alliance controls Madagascar. And then going over to South America, there's a war there between the two nationalist states of the Front of National Liberation and the National Liberation Front. So quite the situation there, and it looks like part of Uruguay has been flooded, and so has the Amazon. And let's go over to making our way into Asia. We have the Australasian Republic, and that is Australia and New Zealand. We have the Great Guinean State, or the Great Guinea State. Then we have the Indonesian League, and going up through Oceania, or just this region more and more, we have the Sultanate of Brunei, and there is the Philippine Union. And in Southeast Asia, we have the Myanmar Soviet, and that's Cambodia, Laos, and Vietnam combined together in one country, it looks like. And it seems like Cambodia and southern Vietnam, they just had some major flooding due to the deluge. And then we have now, there is the Siamese states, and to their north is the very large, but affected by the deluge, the Chinese People's Republic. What happened to Beijing, I wonder? I guess it made it through, or it may have got flooded, but interestingly enough, there's a country off their coast called the Realm of Her Royal Highness. Not really sure what their situation is, but they definitely exist, and their leader's face just disappears when you click on the country for some reason. I really don't know the situation there. Very mysterious, I suppose. We have the Commonwealth of Korea. There's the Republic of Japan. And going through Siberia, we have the Patriarchate of Russia. Russia kind of fell apart in this timeline by the early 22nd century, or maybe, I don't know when it fell apart really, but it did fall apart. We have the Ronova Reclaimers. There's the Mongolian Territory, the Free Anarchist Communes of Kara, the Siberian Military Junta, and the Siberian Royal Resistance. And going more into Central Asia, there's the Sufi Hierarchy, the Global Jihadi Army, the Central Asian Commandery. We have the Kazakh Nation, the Turkmenian Authority, and the Caspian Khanate. And those five countries, that is the situation. That's who's in Central Asia in World War Zero. Then in India, we have the Republic of India, and I think India took over Bangladesh, it seems. Yes. In this world, we have the Democratic Muslim Union. I think that's kind of like Afghanistan and Pakistan, maybe, potentially in terms of territory. And so there's the Shahdom of Persia. The Shahdom of Persia is south of the Turkmenian Authority. In the Caucasus, there's the Principality of the Caucasus. We have the Republic of Turkey, the Hashemite Suzerainty. That's the ruling family of Jordan as of right now in 2023, but they control, I think their family used to control like Iraq and Syria, but I guess they control it once again in this world. We have the Dominion of the Emirs, that is in Arabia. Then we have Israel. Going into Europe, we can definitely see Ukraine kind of got flooded, and there's the free port of Sevastopol. Right here, they're their own country, and what's left of Crimea, really, who's surrounded by the water of the Black Sea at this point. There's the Novayana Republic, the Imperium of Rus. We have the Duchy of the Urals. Where's the Ural Bandits? They're right here. There's the League of the Final International. We got the Merchant Republic of New Arkhangelsk, maybe. There's the Tsarinadom of Russia. There's the Karelian Native Council. There's the Kingdom of Finland, who has a bunch of deals going on with the Kingdom of Norway and the Kingdom of Sweden. And speaking of these Scandinavian states, Denmark is gone. And here is the Pskov, however you say, the Pskov administration, the Principality of Ukraine, the Kursk cabinet. And I don't know what the situation is in Belarus, but it is certainly something. That's all I'm going to say. And they're led by some leader who has the trait Survivor, and I can't really say their name. And then we have the Minsk Committee, and going more into more into Central and Western Europe. Now it's dominated by the European Federation. So we have the Federal State of the Baltics, the Federal State of Poland, the Free State of Europe, the Federal State of Czechoslovakia, the Federal State of Romania, the Federal State of Pannonia, that's like Hungary and I think part of Transylvania and Austria, the Federal State of the Balkans, the Federal State of Greece, yes, the Federal State of Bulgaria, the Federal State of the Alps, so many federal states, Federal State of Italy, the Federal State of Germany, the Federal State of France, the Federal State of Belgium, who's calling all the shots here, I suppose, since technically all these other federal states are their subjects, according to this. Just looking at their system, the setup there, we have the Federal State of Iberia, and that's combined. Portugal and Spain are now one country in World War Zero as of the 22nd century. And there's the Great Company in Brittany, or what's left of Brittany. It's an island now, effectively. Then we have the United Kingdom. They control all of the British Isles, and they have Ireland. Then going more over to North America through the Northern Atlantic, we have Iceland and the Greenland Preservation Zone. And there is Gaia, who just kind of exists. I wonder if that unidentified object that caused the deluge in this world landed there. I'm not entirely sure, though. And here we have we have Free Canada, and they're fighting a war with the United States of North America. Then we have the Hijos, the Hidalgo cartel, the Santa Muerte cartel, and the Mexican state. And I think there's one more cartel, maybe. I think there was one more. Los Mayas cartel somewhere. Oh, they're in Central America. What's left of Central America, anyway. and we have the Kingdom of Panama, and all of Cuba is effectively gone. Well, most of it. And we have the Caribbean Federation, and that's really the last country in North America, or what's left of this part of the world. And there's the United States of North America, of course, fighting against Canada. I suppose Canada is rebelling against them. Not so sure, though. Who controls Hawaii? Hawaii is controlled by the Most Serene Federation of the Pacific. Very nice. Okay, well, this has been the Hearts of Iron 4 mod, World War Zero. If you like it, you can check it out in the video description. A link to it is there. What do you think of it? Tell me in the comments section below. And after you do that, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and ring the bell for notifications.